Captain Jinho Park stood at the large window of the UES Pathfinder, watching the massive coalition station grow larger. His heart beat faster. After all these years of looking at the stars and wondering, humanity was about to join the galactic community. "Captain, we are cleared to dock," said his communications officer. Hanbin Jinho nodded. "Take us in slowly. Let's not scratch their paint on our first visit." The crew laughed, but Jinho could feel their tension. 6 months ago, Earth's deep space sensors had picked up an unknown ship entering the solar system. Instead of panic, the aliens had brought an invitation. The coalition of galactic species, 17 different alien civilizations working together, wanted to talk. Now Jinho led the first human delegation to the coalition's diplomatic station. His mission: secure Earth's entry into this interstellar community. Station locked. "We are docked, Captain," said the pilot. Jinho straightened his blue uniform. "First contact team with me. Everyone else, remember you represent all of humanity." The main hall of the coalition station was vast, with a high ceiling that showed the stars beyond. Species of all shapes and sizes moved around. Some had 6 legs, others floated in the air. Jinho tried not to stare. A tall, slender being with light purple skin approached them. "Welcome, humans. I am Ambassador Vexun, your guide to the coalition." The alien's translator box made their speech sound slightly robotic. Jinho bowed. "Thank you for welcoming us. I am Captain Jinho Park of Earth. Please follow me to the meeting chamber. The council awaits." As they walked, Jinho noticed something strange. None of the various security personnel carried what he would recognize as guns. Some had glowing rods or small devices on their belts, but nothing like the firearms his own security team had been ordered to leave aboard their ship. The council chamber held representatives from all 17 coalition species. Jinho and his team sat at a round table, feeling the weight of history on their shoulders. An elder Vexun with deeper purple skin spoke first. "Earth has reached the technological threshold for coalition membership. We would be pleased to welcome your species, however. There are certain rules all members must follow." For hours they discussed trade, borders, technology sharing, and cultural exchange. Most terms were fair, even generous. Then came the military discussion. "One central rule," said the elder, "is the absolute ban on ballistic weapons in space. No firearms or explosive projectiles are permitted on any vessel traveling between systems." Jinho frowned. "May I ask why?" "Firearms are central to human defense systems." Ambassador Vexun's eyes widened slightly. "You still use such primitive devices? Most species abandon them early in their development." Another council member, a being with 4 arms and green skin, added, "Projectile weapons cause catastrophic hull breaches. One stray bullet can kill everyone on a ship or station. Energy weapons are contained and controlled. Coalition law has prohibited firearms for over 600 standard galactic cycles," said the elder. "This is non-negotiable." Jinho looked at his team members. Earth's ships and soldiers relied heavily on ballistic weapons. How could they defend themselves with technology they didn't yet possess? "We understand your concerns," Jinho said carefully. "But humans have not yet mastered energy weapons to the level you have. Without our current defense systems, we would be vulnerable." The elder Vexun nodded slowly. "We will provide basic energy weapon designs as part of the technology exchange. But be clear, to join the coalition, Earth must comply with the weapons ban." 3 days later, Jinho sat in his quarters aboard the Pathfinder, speaking with Earth over the secure channel. "They won't budge on the weapons ban," he told General Minsu, head of the United Nations Space Command. "And from what I've seen, their energy weapon technology is centuries ahead of ours." The general's face looked grim on the screen. "Can we realistically defend our ships without firearms?" "Not with our current technology," Jinho admitted. "But the benefits of joining are enormous. Access to faster-than-light travel alone would change everything for us. So we either disarm and pray they protect us, or stay isolated and safe," Minsu summarized. A new voice joined the conversation. "Or we find a third option." The camera pulled back to reveal Chief Military Engineer Do Young Kim standing beside the general. She was in her 40s, with short, practical hair and intelligent eyes that missed nothing. "I've been reviewing the exact treaty language," Du Young said. "They ban firearms and ballistic weapons specifically, but the definitions focus on chemical propellants and explosives." "What are you suggesting?" Jin Ho asked. Du Young smiled slightly. "Humans are good at finding loopholes. If we can't use guns in space, we create alternatives that aren't technically guns. They've banned specific technology, not the function." General Minsu looked thoughtful. "How long would you need?" "Give my team 6 months before the treaty signing. We'll have prototypes ready." That evening, Jin Ho met with Ambassador Vexun in one of the station's garden areas. Beautiful plants from different worlds grew together under artificial light. "Your council has strong feelings about weapons," Jin Ho observed. Vexun touched a blue flower gently. "Before the coalition, there was war. Many species nearly destroyed themselves. The weapons ban prevents accidents and enforces peace. Humans have our own history of war," Jin Ho admitted, "but also of adaptation. We're concerned about pirates or hostile species that might not follow your rules." "The coalition maintains peacekeeping fleets," Vexun assured him. "Though pirate attacks are rare, they do happen. Recently, a species called the Zelek has been raiding trade routes in the outer systems." Jin Ho nodded, filing this information away. "And these peacekeepers? They can respond quickly to attacks?" Vexun hesitated. "Not always as quickly as we would like. Space is vast." Jin Ho looked up at the stars visible through the clear ceiling. "Indeed it is." Back on Earth, Du Young stood before a group of engineers and weapons specialists in a secure lab in Seoul. Diagrams and schematics covered the walls. "The coalition has banned firearms in space," she announced. "Our job is to make sure humans can still defend themselves without breaking the treaty." A man with wild hair and a brilliant mind stepped forward. "So we can't use guns. What can we use?" "That's what we're here to figure out, Taewon." Du Young pointed to the main screen showing the treaty language. "They ban chemical propellants and explosive projectiles. They don't ban all weapons." "So we go old school?" asked another engineer. "Knives and swords." "Partly," Du Young agreed. "But I'm thinking bigger. Before guns, humans had many ways to hurt each other from a distance. Bows, crossbows, catapults, pneumatics." Taewon's eyes lit up. "And we have modern materials and technology to make those ancient concepts deadly again." Du Young nodded. "Exactly. The aliens think we're giving up our weapons, but really, we're just getting creative." She looked at the blank design boards waiting to be filled. "We have 6 months to reinvent human warfare. Let's get to work." The underground lab in Seoul buzzed with activity. 3 months had passed since the first meeting with the coalition, and Du Young's team worked around the clock. Large screens showed designs and test results. Strange devices lined the walls. Du Young studied a failed test on her tablet. The energy weapon they had built based on coalition designs had overheated again. She sighed and placed the tablet down. "We're still centuries behind their energy technology," she said to no one in particular. Taewon looked up from his workbench. His wild hair stuck out in all directions and dark circles showed under his eyes, but his energy never seemed to fade. "So we stopped trying to copy them," he said simply. "We do what humans do best. We adapt." Du Young walked over to his station. "Show me what you've been working on." Taewon grinned and picked up a device that looked like a thick metal tube with handles. "I call it the magnetic impulse javelin. No gunpowder, no chemicals, no explosives." He pointed to a target at the far end of the lab. "Watch." He pressed a button, and the device hummed to life. When he pulled the trigger, a metal rod shot out at incredible speed, punching straight through the target with a thud. "How does it work?" Du Young asked, suddenly interested. "Electromagnetic acceleration. The same principle as a railgun, but smaller and designed to launch solid metal javelins. Technically, it's just a very advanced spear thrower, not a firearm." Du Young smiled for the first time in weeks. "Show me more." In the next room, 3 other engineers worked on different projects. Ji-hoon, the youngest team member, demonstrated his creation. "This is the tension-assisted projectile system," he said proudly. Du Young examined the device. It looked like a high-tech crossbow made of carbon fiber and metal. "It uses stored mechanical energy from these compressed carbon fiber limbs," Ji-hoon explained. "The draw weight is over 500 pounds, but these small motors help load it." He pressed a button, and the string pulled back automatically. "What's the projectile?" Taewon asked. Ji-hoon showed them a carbon arrow with a wicked-looking tip. "These can penetrate standard body armor, and the best part? Completely silent. No muzzle flash, no sound." Du Young nodded in approval. "The treaty bans firearms, not bows. This is good work." Meanwhile, aboard the Coalition diplomatic station, Captain Jin-ho attended another meeting with alien representatives. Today's topic: trade routes and standard shipping protocols. During a break, Jin-ho found himself talking with a reptilian alien called Skarik. The alien stood 7 feet tall with scaled skin and moved slowly in the station's gravity. "Your species walks with much energy," Skarik observed. "You move quickly." Jin-ho smiled. "Earth has stronger gravity than this station. We're used to it." "Interesting. My people evolved on a world with 1/3 your gravity. We find movement. Here. Taxing." Jin-ho filed this information away. It wasn't the first time he'd noticed physical differences between humans and coalition species. Many aliens seemed delicate compared to humans. Later, he met with Ambassador Vexun to discuss the weapons treaty again. "Our engineers are working to adapt to your weapons restrictions," Jin-ho said, "but we need clarification on some definitions." Vexun tilted his head. "Such as? Your treaty bans chemical propellants and explosive projectiles. Does it ban compressed air systems, mechanical tension devices, electromagnetic launchers?" Vexun looked confused. "Those are not used in modern warfare. They would be ineffective against energy shields." "But they're not technically banned?" "The spirit of the law is to prevent hull breaches and uncontrolled projectiles in space," Vexun said. "But yes, the specific wording only bans chemical propulsion systems for weaponry." Jin-ho kept his face neutral, but inside he smiled. He sent a message to Earth that night. "Green light on alternative systems. Proceed with all designs." Back in Seoul, Du Young's team expanded. New prototypes filled testing rooms. Engineers worked on different systems, all based on the same principle: weapons that weren't technically firearms but could still protect humans in space. Taewon burst into Du Young's office one morning, holding a small metal ball. "I've been thinking about the aliens," he said, placing the ball on her desk. "What about them?" Du Young asked. "Jin-ho has sent reports about their physical differences. Many evolved in low-gravity environments or don't have predators on their home worlds. What if we use that?" Du Young picked up the metal ball. "I'm listening." "This is a stun grenade. Not explosive. It uses sound frequencies that affect the inner ear. For humans, it causes temporary dizziness, but for species with more sensitive hearing or balance organs, it could be completely disabling." Du Young finished his thought. "And technically not a weapon at all, just a sound device." Taewon nodded eagerly. "We can use our understanding of biology to our advantage. Not just weapons, but tools that work better against aliens than they would against humans." Du Young stood up. "Get the medical team involved. I want a full breakdown of every known coalition species and their potential physical weaknesses." 5 months after first contact, Du Young's team prepared to demonstrate their creations to the United Nations Space Command. General Min-soo and other military leaders gathered in the underground testing facility. Du Young stood before them confidently. "Ladies and gentlemen, the coalition banned firearms in space, so we got creative." She nodded to her team, who wheeled out various devices on carts. "This is the MIJ-7, our standard magnetic impulse javelin. It fires solid metal rods at high velocity using electromagnetic acceleration. No chemicals, no explosives, no breach of treaty." She picked up the device and fired at a target. The metal rod punched through with impressive force. "Next, our TAPS system." She showed them Ji-hoon's advanced crossbow. Silent, powerful and reusable projectiles. General Minsu looked skeptical. These look effective, but they seem primitive compared to alien technology. Du Young smiled. That's our advantage. The aliens have forgotten these ways of fighting. They rely too much on their energy weapons and shields. She moved to another station where a heavy suit of armor stood. This is our space combat suit, made of carbon fiber and lightweight metals. It's stronger than standard body armor and designed for movement in zero gravity. Taewon stepped forward holding what looked like brass knuckles. And this is my favorite, power-assisted impact gloves. They multiply the user's striking force by 10. In Earth gravity, humans are already stronger than most coalition species. With these, a single punch could disable most aliens. The military leaders began to look impressed. We've created 20 different non-firearm weapon systems, Du Young concluded. From simple to complex, all legal under the treaty. General Minsu nodded slowly. When can we begin training troops with these systems? Immediately, Du Young said. The first training group starts tomorrow. In his quarters on the coalition station, Jin Ho received the final report from Earth. The weapons development had been successful. Earth would sign the treaty, officially joining the coalition of galactic species. Jin Ho smiled as he read the detailed descriptions of Du Young's creations. The aliens thought they were disarming humans. In reality, they had just pushed humans to be more creative. An alert chimed on his computer. A message from Ambassador Vexun. Treaty signing ceremony scheduled for next week. The coalition welcomes Earth to the galactic community. Jin Ho sent his reply. We look forward to a peaceful and productive relationship with all species. What he didn't add was, and we'll be ready if that peace doesn't last. The colony ship Pioneer moved slowly through space, carrying 2,000 settlers to the newly approved human colony world. Captain Soo-Jin Han stood on the bridge, watching the stars through the large forward window. Earth was 3 weeks behind them, and their new home was still 2 months away. Status report, she said to her crew. All systems normal, Captain, said her first officer, Jun Ho. The coalition beacon network is guiding us perfectly. Soo-Jin nodded. It had been 3 months since Earth signed the treaty with the coalition. So far, things had gone well. The knowledge exchange had already improved Earth's technology. Faster ships, better medicine, and new energy systems were being built. But not everyone was happy about the weapons ban. Soo-Jin glanced at the security locker near her chair. Inside were the new weapons developed by Du Young's team. The magnetic impulse javelins and tension-assisted projectile systems looked strange to crew members trained on standard firearms. But orders were orders. No firearms in space. Captain, called the sensor officer suddenly. Unknown ship approaching, not broadcasting identification codes. Soo-Jin straightened. Show me. The main screen changed to show a rough-looking ship, larger than the Pioneer but less elegant. It moved fast, on an intercept course. Coalition vessels? She asked. None in range according to their beacon network. Soo-Jin frowned. Sound General. Alert. Security teams to stations. On the unknown ship, Captain Draz of the Select Pirates grinned, showing his sharp teeth. His scaly skin reflected the dim lights of his bridge. A human vessel, he said to his crew. Their first colony ship. Perfect target. His second-in-command looked nervous. But humans just joined the coalition. Won't there be consequences? Drazi laughed. The coalition is weak. Their ships are far away, and humans are new. They have valuable technology but no experience in space. He leaned forward. Besides, I hear they gave up their weapons to join. They're defenseless. Back on the Pioneer, Soo-Jin watched as the pirate ship came closer. They're hailing us, said Junho. Soo-Jin nodded. On screen, the face of a reptilian alien appeared. His scales were dark green and his eyes were yellow slits. Human vessel, the alien said. I am Captain Draz of the free ship Nightclaw. Your vessel is now under my control. Prepare to be boarded. Soo-Jin kept her face calm. This is a civilian. Colony ship under coalition protection. Leave our flight path immediately. Draz laughed. The coalition is not here, and we know you humans surrendered your weapons to join their club. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. The screen went black. They've locked weapons on us, reported the sensor officer. Su-jin turned to Jun-ho. Distress signal to any coalition ships. Then get our security teams ready. We have 200 military-trained colonists on board. Tell them to grab their new weapons. Yes, Captain. The Nightclaw fired, hitting the Pioneer's engines. The colony ship shook. Then the pirates sent over boarding craft that attached to the hull, cutting through to enter the ship. Su-jin waited in the main corridor with 40 security personnel. All of them carried the new weapons. Some had the magnetic javelins. Others had the advanced crossbows. A few carried the special sound grenades Taewon had developed. Remember your training, she told them. These aren't firearms, but they're still deadly. And the Zilek evolved on a low-gravity world. They're stronger than humans in space, but we have surprise on our side. The hull breached with a hiss of air. Emergency shields contained the breach, but pirate boarders poured through. The Zilek pirates were tall and reptilian, with natural armor on their scales. They carried energy weapons and moved with confidence. Surrender your ship and cargo, their leader demanded. Su-jin gave the signal. The security team activated their weapons. The pirates laughed when they saw what the humans carried. Spears and bows, are you serious? Their laughter died when the first magnetic javelin punched through a pirate's natural armor like it was paper. The fight began in earnest. The humans moved with practiced coordination. The javelin teams fired first, taking down the front line of pirates. Then the crossbow teams sent their carbon fiber arrows into the second wave. The pirates fired back, with energy weapons, but the humans were faster than they expected in the tight corridors. 3 crew members tossed Taewon sound grenades. The devices made a high-pitched noise that barely affected the humans, but sent the Zalek to their knees in pain, their sensitive hearing overwhelmed. Push forward, Su-jin ordered. Don't let them regroup. The security team moved with surprising speed in the low gravity. The pirates had expected easy prey. Instead, they found themselves facing humans who moved like they weighed nothing, hitting with incredible force. Jun-ho led a second team that circled around to attack the pirates from behind. His team carried the power-assisted impact gloves. When they reached the pirates, they engaged in hand-to-hand combat. The power gloves amplified their punches, cracking the natural armor of the Zilek. The battle raged for 20 minutes. When it ended, 30 pirates were captured. The rest had retreated to their ship. Secure the prisoners, Su-jin ordered. Damage report? Minor hull damage. 2 crew injured, none killed, Jun-ho reported. Su-jin nodded, relieved. The pirate ship? Still attached. Their captain is calling for surrender. Put him through. Captain Draz appeared on the screen again, now with a broken scale plate on his face. What kind of weapons are those? He demanded. You were supposed to be unarmed. Su-jin smiled coldly. We have no firearms, as per coalition law. But humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We have other ways to defend ourselves. 3 hours later, a coalition peacekeeping vessel finally arrived. Ambassador Vexen himself was on board, having been in a nearby system for diplomatic work. He looked shocked as he walked through the Pioneer, seeing the captured pirates and the strange weapons the humans carried. You defeated an entire pirate crew? He asked Su-jin. With these devices? Su-jin nodded. They comply with coalition law. No firearms, no chemical propellants, no explosives. Vexen picked up one of the magnetic javelins carefully. This is technically correct, but we assumed without firearms, species would be limited to diplomatic solutions. Humans believe in diplomacy, Su-jin said, but we also believe in being prepared. Later, Vexen sent an urgent message to the Coalition Council. The humans have found a concerning loophole in the weapons treaty. They defeated Zalek pirates using primitive but effective technology that our laws do not cover. The Council's response was unexpected. No treaty violations have occurred. The humans defended themselves legally against a known threat. However, we will need to study their methods more closely. News of the battle spread quickly through Coalition. Space. The story of how humans defeated the feared Zelek pirates using primitive weapons became popular in bars and gathering places. Captain Su-jin became something of a celebrity. The Pioneer continued its journey to the new colony world, now with an escort of coalition ships. Back on Earth, Du-young received the battle reports with satisfaction. Her team's weapons had performed exactly as designed. She immediately began work on improvements based on the real-world data. In the Coalition Council, a quiet discussion began. Some members worried about the humans and their creative approach to rules. Others saw opportunity. If humans could defeat pirates that had troubled Coalition shipping for years, perhaps they could be valuable allies after all. Perhaps, said one council member, we should consider allowing humans to provide security services on Coalition trade routes. The motion passed. The first official request for human security personnel arrived at Earth's new embassy the next day. 1 year after the Pioneer incident, humanity had firmly established itself in the Coalition. What started as a reluctant acceptance had become a growing partnership. Admiral Jin-ho Park, recently promoted from captain, stood in his new office on Earth's embassy station orbiting Mars. Another security request? He asked, looking at the message on his screen. His aide nodded. 5 more Coalition merchant ships want human security teams. That makes 28 requests this month alone. Jin-ho smiled. The pirates' defeat had changed everything. Coalition species who once looked down on humans now sought their protection. The United Nations Space Command had created a special division just to handle the demand. Accept them all, Jin-ho said, and send them our standard contract. After the meeting, Jin-ho called Du-young, who now led the renamed Manual Kinetic Delivery Systems Division of the UNSC. How are the new designs coming? He asked when her face appeared on the screen. Du-young looked tired but pleased. The 3rd generation is almost ready. You won't believe what we've developed. Show me. Du-young's screen changed to show a testing room. Tae-won stood there holding what looked like a small cannon on his shoulder. This is the compressed air cannon, Du-young explained. It uses multi-stage air compression to launch solid projectiles at speeds comparable to old-style firearms, completely legal under the treaty. Tae-won fired the weapon. A heavy metal slug shot out and punched through 3 test barriers. Impressive, Jin-ho said. What else? Du-young showed him more designs. A liquid metal projector that fired streams of superheated metal that solidified on impact. A gravitic slingshot that accelerated small objects to incredible speeds. And new armor that could withstand direct hits from standard Coalition energy weapons. We've come so far in just 1 year, Jin-ho marveled. Necessity breeds innovation, Du-young replied, and humans are very, very good at finding new ways to fight. On the Coalition Station Unity, Ambassador Vexen met with the Council. The topic, humans and their growing role in Coalition security. They now protect over 100 merchant vessels, one council member complained. Their security company, Guardian Solutions, is charging high fees for protection. Yet Pirate Siu attacks have decreased by 70% on routes with human security, another pointed out. The Zelek have almost stopped their raids entirely. Vexen listened silently. He had studied humans closely over the past year. Their rapid adaptation still surprised him. Instead of being weakened by the weapons ban, they had turned it into an advantage. The humans operate within our laws, Vexen finally said. We cannot fault them for providing a service many of our merchants willingly pay for. The debate continued for hours. Some feared the growing human influence. Others saw benefits. In the end, they agreed to monitor the situation, but take no action. As Vexen left the meeting, his assistant rushed up to him. Ambassador, urgent news. An unknown ship has entered Coalition space near the Krell sector. It's not responding to hails and has fired on a patrol vessel. The alert spread quickly through Coalition channels. A previously unknown species called the Vorn had entered Coalition space with a fleet of 30 ships. Unlike other first contacts, they had started with attacks, not communication. 4 Coalition defense vessels were destroyed in the first encounter. The Vorn ships used technology that bypassed standard Coalition shields. Their weapons cut through hulls like they weren't there. On Unity Station, panic grew as reports came in. The Vorn fleet was headed directly for the Coalition's central hub. Traditional defenses were failing. Council members argued about evacuation plans. In his office, Admiral Jin Ho watched the reports with growing concern. 3 human security ships were in the area, including his old friend Captain Soo-Jin Han's vessel, the Defender. "Admiral, we're receiving a direct request from Ambassador Vexun," his communications officer reported. "He's asking if our ships can assist with the defense of Unity Station." Jin Ho didn't hesitate. "Send the order. All human vessels in range are to move to protect Unity, and notify Earth that we need reinforcements." Captain Soo-Jin's ship was the first to arrive near Unity. The Defender was small compared to Coalition vessels, but it carried 60 of the best-trained human security personnel, all equipped with the latest non-firearm weapons. "Analysis of Vorn ships?" she asked her tactical officer. "Their shields block energy weapons, but physical objects pass through. Standard Coalition weapons. Can't touch them." Soo-Jin smiled grimly. "Lucky for them, we don't use standard weapons." The Defender moved to intercept 3 Vorn ships approaching the station. Soo-Jin opened a channel to her security teams. "This is not a training exercise. These aliens have killed Coalition citizens and threatened the central station. Use all necessary force." Her ship had been modified with launch tubes that could send security teams directly to enemy vessels. Each tube fired what looked like a metal pod across space. These pods were designed to attach to enemy ships and cut through their hulls. "Launch boarding teams," Soo-Jin ordered. 30 pods shot from the Defender toward the Vorn ships. The aliens, unused to physical attacks, didn't even try to stop them. The pods attached and began cutting entry points. Meanwhile, 2 more human ships arrived. They immediately launched their own boarding teams. Within minutes, human security personnel were inside all 3 Vorn vessels. Inside the lead Vorn ship, team leader Mireille moved carefully through alien corridors. Her team carried magnetic impulse javelins and the newest liquid metal projectors. They wore the latest human combat suits designed for spaceboarding actions. The Vorn were tall, insect-like aliens with 4 arms and natural armor plating. They seemed shocked to find humans on their ship. Their energy weapons fired, but the humans were ready. They dodged and returned fire with their own weapons. The magnetic javelins punched through Vorn armor easily. The liquid metal projectors sprayed streams of molten metal that solidified on impact, immobilizing Vorn warriors. Mireille noticed something important as they fought their way to the bridge. The Vorn moved awkwardly, struggling in the ship's artificial gravity. "They're not used to this gravity setting," she told her team. "Use that against them." The humans who trained in Earth's stronger gravity easily outmaneuvered their opponents. They moved faster, hit harder, and reacted more quickly than the Vorn expected. Within 40 minutes, Mireille's team had control of the Vorn ship's bridge. The other human teams reported similar success on the other 2 vessels. Captain Soo-Jin's voice came through their comms. "Status report?" 3 Vorn ships captured," Mireille replied. "Their technology is impressive, but they weren't prepared for close combat. Good work. More Vorn ships are approaching. Hold position until reinforcements arrive." On Unity Station, Ambassador Vexun and the Council watched in amazement as humans took control of 3 Vorn ships in less than an hour. The main Coalition fleet was still 2 days away, but human reinforcements were arriving by the hour. "How are they defeating shields that our best weapons cannot penetrate?" one council member asked. "They aren't using energy weapons," Vexun explained. "Their primitive projectile weapons pass right through the Vorn shields, which were designed to stop energy attacks." Another human ship arrived, this one larger than the others. Admiral Jin Ho had come personally to oversee the defense. "Timar, humans are organizing a coordinated defense," Vexun told the council. "I suggest we provide them with all information we have on the Vorn and follow their tactical lead." The council members looked shocked. Never before had the Coalition deferred to a newer species for military leadership. But the evidence was clear. Only humans were effectively fighting the Vorn. "Very well," the senior council member agreed. Tell Admiral Jin-Ho that the Coalition formally requests Earth's leadership in this conflict. Vexen sent the message, then watched as more human ships arrived. The weapons ban that was meant to keep peace had unexpectedly prepared humans to be the Coalition's best defenders. 5 years after first contact, the Coalition diplomatic hall was filled with representatives from all member species. The massive room buzzed with conversation as they waited for the ceremony to begin. Admiral Jin-Ho Park stood near the front, dressed in his formal uniform. Beside him, Do-Young Kim looked uncomfortable in her own formal wear. She preferred her workshop clothes, but today was special. "I still can't believe they're changing the treaty," she whispered to Jin-Ho. He smiled. "You earned this, we all did." The Vorn conflict had ended 3 years ago. What started as an invasion had turned into a 6-month war that changed the Coalition forever. Human security forces had led the defense, using their primitive weapons to defeat enemies that Coalition energy weapons couldn't touch. When it was over, 27 human ships had been destroyed, and over 300 human security personnel had died protecting Coalition worlds. The sacrifice wasn't forgotten. The hall quieted as Elder Vexen, now head of the Coalition Council, approached the podium. His once light purple skin had darkened with age, but his eyes remained sharp. "Today marks 5 years since Earth joined our community," he began. 5 years that have changed us all." He gestured to the human delegation. "When we first met humans, we saw them as newcomers with much to learn. We believed our ways were advanced and theirs primitive. We were wrong." Murmurs of agreement spread through the hall. The weapons treaty we required them to sign was meant to maintain peace. Instead, it pushed humans to create alternatives that proved essential to our collective survival. Vexen held up a copy of the original treaty. "Today, we formally amend this document. While firearms remain prohibited in space for safety reasons, we now recognize the category of manually operated kinetic devices as legitimate defense tools." He nodded to Do-Young. "Engineer Kim will lead the new Coalition Defense Innovation Council, sharing human ingenuity with all species who wish to learn." Do-Young stood to accept the appointment as the hall erupted in applause. She remembered the underground lab in Seoul where it had all started. From crisis came opportunity. From restriction came innovation. Later that day, Jin-Ho and Vexen walked through the station's observation deck. Through the massive windows, they could see ships from dozens of species moving around the busy spaceport. "Did you ever think it would turn out this way?" Jin-Ho asked. Vexen gave the equivalent of a smile. "Never. We feared you would be difficult to control. Instead, you saved us." "Not exactly what we planned either," Jin-Ho admitted. "We just wanted to protect ourselves." "That is the great irony," Vexen said. "By trying to limit your weapons, we pushed you to create better ones. And, when crisis came, your primitive methods proved more effective than our advanced technology." They paused to watch a human security vessel escort a Coalition freighter away from the station. The practice had become standard. Most merchant ships now carried human security teams. "Your people have found their place in our community," Vexen observed. "Though not the place we expected." In another part of the station, Taewon demonstrated ancient Earth martial arts to a group of alien diplomats. Though now the head of weapons research on Earth, he still enjoyed teaching. "The principle is simple," he explained as he moved through a form. "Use your opponent's strength against them. Find balance in yourself." The aliens watched with fascination. Many had begun studying human combat techniques after the Vorn War. Physical training had become popular throughout Coalition space, inspired by human methods. "Can anyone truly master this without Earth gravity?" asked a slender alien diplomat. "Adaptation is key," Taewon replied. "Humans had to adapt to space. You must adapt these techniques to your own bodies and environments." He demonstrated a throw that used an opponent's momentum. "Each species has strengths and weaknesses. Good warriors know both." The aliens tried to copy his movements, with varying success. Taewon watched patiently. Teaching was a form of diplomacy now, building bridges between species through shared knowledge. Captain Soo-Jin Han, now commander of the Coalition's Rapid Response Fleet, stood on the bridge of her new ship, the Unity Defender. It was the largest vessel ever built jointly by humans and the Coalition, combining the best of both technologies. "Course is set, Commander," her first officer reported. "We're ready to depart." Soo-Jin nodded. "Take us out." The massive ship moved away from the station, its crew a mix of humans and aliens working together. Their mission, to patrol the borders of Coalition space and respond to any threats. On the weapons deck, security teams trained with a variety of devices. Some were the familiar magnetic javelins and advanced crossbows. Others were newer designs, created by Du Young's team working with alien engineers. The ship represented the new reality. Humans had gone from newcomers to essential partners in just 5 years. Their creativity under constraint had proven more valuable than anyone expected. In Du Young's new office on the Coalition Central Station, she reviewed applications from alien species wanting to join her research team. The Defense Innovation Council had become one of the most prestigious groups in Coalition space. Her door chimed, and a young human engineer entered. "The new prototypes are ready for testing," he reported. "The Coalition representatives are waiting in the demonstration room." Du Young nodded and followed him through the station to a large testing facility. Inside, representatives from 12 species waited. They watched eagerly as the engineering team unveiled their latest creation. "This is the gravity manipulation projector," Du Young explained. "It uses principles from both human mechanical design and Coalition energy manipulation. It can temporarily increase the apparent gravity around a target, immobilizing them without causing permanent harm." The demonstration showed a volunteer being gently but completely immobilized by the device. The alien representatives applauded. "Another breakthrough, Engineer Kim," said the Skaric representative. "Your team continues to impress." Du Young smiled. "Innovation thrives under constraints. The weapons ban taught humans that long ago." That evening, a formal reception celebrated the treaty amendments. Jin Ho stood with Vexun watching the mixed crowd of humans and aliens. What had once been awkward was now natural. Species that had never worked together now did so daily. "I've been meaning to ask," Jin Ho said. "Did the Coalition really expect us to be defenseless when you banned firearms?" Vexen paused before answering. "Many believed that without advanced energy weapons or firearms, newer species would need our protection. It would keep the power balance predictable. But humans don't like being predictable," Jin Ho said with a smile. "No, you certainly don't." Vexun gestured to the gathered crowd. "And the Coalition is stronger for it." Across the room, Du Young raised a glass in a toast. "To creativity under constraint, may we always find new paths forward." The crowd echoed the sentiment. 5 years ago, humans had faced a choice: give up their weapons or give up the stars. Instead, they found a third option. They got creative, The reception continued. A Coalition ship departed the station bound for a diplomatic mission in contested space. On board, human security personnel stood ready, their primitive weapons close at hand. The aliens who once looked down on such methods now found comfort in their presence. The weapons ban remained in effect, but humanity had found its place among the stars, not despite the ban but because of it. The end.